Today I have another Christmas card, and here's what it looks like. It's got some really fun cutting dies. These are the fancy Wreath and Joy set, and I can't wait to show you how to make it. Stay tuned. Today I will be using the Joy and Wreath Christmas die set, so you can't really see the shapes very well, so I've cut one of each of the shapes out for you. So here's the Joy, and then it's got a little bow and the wreath itself. So it's got a good variety of shapes that you can use in several different ways. So besides the cutting die set, I'm also going to use a couple of suede papers. This one's called Burgundy Suede, and it's a nice rich burgundy, and my camera is adjusting to the darkness of the colors here, so it's a little bit darker than what you might see on the screen. And this is a forest green, so this is forest suede and burgundy suede. They're both 8.5 by 11 sheets. And then I'm going to use the double-sided Christmas lace paper pack. And of course there's some project ideas on the packaging. And here's just a quick sneak peek at the designs in this set. They're really pretty, and they have a lot of variety to them. There's some really lacy ones, and then there's some snowflakes that are stylized. This one looks kind of like a doily, and I really like this one. So that's the Christmas lace double-sided paper pack. Alright, now let's get into the project. Alright, so I brought out my electronic die cutting machine, the eBosser, and I'm just going to turn it on here. And in the manual it tells you how to cut all different types of dies. But for this type of die, which is just a thin metal die, I'm going to use, if you have an eBosser, you'll know that you'll use D, platform D, platform C, platform B, and then this magnetic shim, which is optional, but I find it useful to help keep my dies in place. So the metal die will be kind of magnetic on the shim, and you won't be able to move it as easily. So I have my die blades facing upward and my suede paper facing downward onto the blades, and then platform A goes on top, and you can tell my platform A has been used quite a bit. Might be time to get a new one soon, but it's been cutting fine, and I've cut hundreds of shapes on this thing, so I'll just stick it in. And voila, simple as that. And here we have the beautiful wreath. Here's a close-up of that wreath just to show you how perfectly the eBosser cut this out, and all of the innies came out easily, and now you have a really nice little fuzzy velvety wreath to use on your card. Here are all the pieces that I've just cut out for my card. First of all, I have the burgundy bow, the forest green wreath, and then I also used some gold paper, which I used last week, but I thought it looked so fabulous with cutting dies that I used it again. So I did a gold wreath and the Joy in gold as well. What I'm going to do with the word here is mat this on burgundy suede paper. And we're just going to glue it on there, probably with small amounts of tacky glue on the back, and then just cut around it, and that'll make it stand out even more on my card. For the wreaths, what I'm going to do is stack my green one on top of my gold one, and you can see it creates a double wreath, so you've got a much fuller looking wreath, and it has the beautiful gold showing through from the back. And the bow can just go right there. So for now, I will go ahead and mat this word on the burgundy suede. So I've cut the outline of my word here, but I want to cut the innies out as well. And to do that, I usually use my X-Acto knife. And I simply get in here and start just cutting, keeping my eye on the space between the knife and the word so that I try to get something that's a little bit consistent here. And it's also very helpful if you have a sharp knife, a new blade, because when you're freehand cutting, you don't want to be pressing too hard because you'll be more likely to slip and hurt yourself. So if you have a sharp blade, you won't be pressing excessively hard. And there we go. So there's the O. And I know it's hard to kind of see where I'm cutting, but you just have to keep your eye on that gold and curve the knife. It does take some practice. Another option would be to start the shape with the knife. For example, I'll do this one. So just make a short cut there and then come in with some detail scissors and finish off the job. So you can see my blades here cutting through. But for me, I personally find it easier to do the whole thing with my X-Acto knife just because I'm used to using that. Alternatively, you could just leave these innies on. It's really up to you how much detail work or detail cutting you want to put into the card. So I'm just going to finish this off. And the trick with detail cutting is to always be moving the object rather than your scissors. So I'm trying to cut at the same time, curve my shape, turn it so that I follow the gold lines. Okay, so there we have it. Here's my 5" by 6.5" card, and I have covered it with this burgundy dot paper and then glued this green stripe paper. Now this is 3 inches wide by 6.5 inches along the middle, and now I have a 2.5" wide strip of this stripe paper, which happens to be the back side of this stripe, and I'm going to glue that across the bottom so it'll look something like that. Then I have a 3/4 inch strip of the forest suede paper, and with that I'm simply going to cut a V shape in the end of it, just like that, and that's going to be glued right here. The joy will be here. My double layer wreath, if I can get them untangled at the moment, there we go, will be at the top, and then my bow. And I'm going to go ahead and glue these down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I glued these pieces down, and for the bow, what I filled these in with is some excess of the dazzle material of these gold jewel border dazzles. These aren't in the bundle, but they can be purchased separately, and I just cut out some of this excess area and put it behind these open areas in the bow just to add some sparkle. And now I'm just going to add some more jewel dazzle borders to some of the areas of the card before I call it finished. Alright, and here's the finished product. The jewel dazzle borders are simply placed along either side of this green striped piece and across the top of this strip here, and just right here at the end of this forest suede strip. I hope you enjoyed this week's tutorial. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned for today's bundle. First in today's bundle is the Christmas Lace paper pack. So there's 12 each of these, or there's 12 papers, 2 of each design. So first of all, we have, of course, a project idea or 2. On the front, we've got a page and a cute card here. And then on the back, a double page spread and the card with the inside included. There's an image of each of the 6 designs, matching products. Let's get into the papers themselves. I've only included one of each of the designs to show you. So here's the first. It's got that really beautiful ornate lacy corner, and it's got a little bit of a flourish in the background and an all around border, as you can see, in blue and red. On the back of that is a blue dot. Then we have a really beautiful multicolored stripe, and it kind of encompasses all the colors that are in this set. On the back, a more straightforward green stripe, matching holly leaves with berries, and then some blue swirls as well. A burgundy dot. This is a really unique one. It's kind of a square type of a doily look to it. Fun snowflakes in there, and I love the unique shapes of the snowflakes. An all-over smaller snowflake on the back on blue. This one's got a pink, kind of a dusty pink to it, and it's got this centered doily lace, and on the back a tiny green snowflake. And then this one's got colorful snowflakes in a tile pattern, and on the back some kind of a pink all-over snowflake as well. So those are all the designs in the double-sided Christmas lace paper pack. Also in the bundle are 2 sheets of suede paper. We have forest and burgundy, and I apologize if my camera is not showing these colors very well, but if you can imagine a nice dark rich green and a nice dark rich burgundy, that's the colors of these papers. And we have the star of the show, which is the cutting die set. So there's Joy, the wreath, and the bow, and they all come in one set. And just to show you an example of each of those shapes, here's just some random papers that I cut out. So this is the wreath, the bow, and the joy, and these can be used in combination with each other or individually or repeated individually. So that's the really neat thing, is that you can play around with the cutting dice to do with it whatever you want with them, and they can cut through many different mediums. So that's today's bundle. Thank you so much for joining me, and see you again next week.